Now, there's overwhelming evidence from all of the research projects, including the World Economic Forum, that the better the workplace is for women, then the better it is for organizations, whether that's profit making, whether that's fundraising. And in respect to cohesiveness and creativity and integrity, we know having an equal workplace is the right thing to do.
A lot of women are in, typically in our sector, are in customer-facing roles. So they have been on furlough for the last 4 or 5 months. Also, now that we're planning for, the return to work, some of these women continue to be on furlough. We are now, school holidays have started or are about to start, depending on, different circumstances. But, there are women who are requesting to stay on furlough. And there is a positive and there is a negative in that. The longer you stay out of the workforce, the more difficult it is to come back. Also, in some roles, the longer you stay out of the work, you can get very quickly de-skilled. But also can lead to, when it comes to making, redundancies, you are out of sight, and there are assumptions that are being made. Just yesterday I had a group of HRDs talking about some of the challenges and opportunities, and they were talking about managers trying to do the right thing and saying like, oh, you've got childcare issues, we will not unfurlough you. Actually, let people decide what is the right thing for them, because actually some women might want to come back because they've got their childcare sorted out, or because they can't take any more being at home, whatever reason. Just don't make this kind of assumptions.
For me, is when we first started doing this blankety blank thing with lots of squares and lots of people, so many people did apologise when one of their children came in or the cat wandered across their screen or whatever. Whereas now, everybody says hello and introduces themselves to the family unit, and it's seen as a much more natural thing. So I think seeing people as a whole is one of the most positive things of this. But the downside to that, I guess, is that I honestly thought at the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was locked down, that there would be a global shift of home working that meant that childcare might be more equal, and it just hasn't happened. So I went to get some stats for people, and there was one study from Boston Consulting, and it was saying that they surveyed more than 3,000 people in the US and Europe, and they said that women were spending an average of an extra 15 hours a week on unpaid domestic labour than men.
My experience and the experience of the women that we coach through this pandemic is not looking so good now. And I'll tell you what some of the issues I see are. One is flexible working is not the silver bullet that I thought it was going to be. And the reason it's not the silver bullet, there's an article out actually by Julia Gillard, from
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister, yeah, of course you'll know Savannah. And Julia and Hermione Ibarra. And they make the point that actually, when women and men are given the opportunity to work from home, and this is a painful truth, what happens is, if a man can work from home, they add in many more hours of work, yeah, because they're at home and they don't have to commute. When a woman who is a mother, and it is women who are mothers, by the way, and not women who are not, when a woman who is a mother works from home, they don't have the capacity to add in more work. What actually happens is they have to use that time because they're shouldering 2/3 of the domestic responsibility.